The friendly skies haven't always been friendly for women or people of color. According to 2020 federal labor statistics, about 3% of aircraft pilots and flight engineers are Black or African American, and under 6% are women. One of the few women pilots of color is Carole Hopson, who flies a Boeing 737 for United as a first officer. And she was inspired to become a pilot by the story of another Black woman, Bessie Coleman, the first African-American woman to earn a pilot's license. Now Hopson has written a book inspired by Coleman, one she hopes can help her mission to diversify the aviation industry.
Which way is the wind coming from? Coming from the left. Look at that nose. Very good.
In the cockpit, soaring high above, Carole Hopson has relinquished the pilot seat. She's mentored Silver Ford for the past 6 years.
You got a lot of runway, 6,000 feet if I remember.
Where were you before you met Carole Hopson?
Before I met Carole, I was a freshman at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. Honestly, in the process of going to classes, trying to figure out how I would afford flight training. Tuition was approximately $40,000 a year. Flight training fees could be as much as $20,000.
But Ford is now an official flight instructor and will soon become the first Black woman pilot in the Tennessee Air National Guard's 164th Airlift Wing. So your students come out and fly here?
Oh, sure.
In these planes?
Absolutely. This is one of our airplanes.
It's all possible through the Luke Weathers Flight Academy in Olive Branch, Mississippi, named after the Tuskegee Airmen and first African-American air traffic controller.
So my role is cheerleader. My role is to help bring awareness of the school, to fundraise. In order to get 100 Black women through flight school, we estimate it's going to be about $7 million.
Courtney Gillespie is one of them. When she met Hopson, she was working as a lifeguard to pay off a 6-figure student loan from her time in aviation school.
She said, look, you're going to have to make a plan, but I have somewhere where you can probably go that's going to help you out, but you're going to have to make a way to get there. And so when she finally gave me like that little light at that end of the tunnel, that kind of where I can start to see my journey going, I really took it. I took it and I grabbed onto it.
This nonprofit program cuts flight training costs by 2/3, thanks to Hopson and her fellow members of the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, including
Captain Albert Glenn. I'd like for you to meet Michelle Miller. Michelle, this is my mentor.
He mentored you. When you see her mentoring other students, how does that feel?
It feels great because, you know, it's that finding those diamonds and then watching them shine, you know, and given the opportunity and being able to put together a school and then being able to put monies, you know, in the hands of those who need it to be successful it was a dream.
As a United Airlines Boeing 737 first officer, Hopson has become a poster pilot for access.
I am living proof that it is never too late to follow your dream.
A former journalist turned human resources executive turned stay-at-home mom, Hopson deferred her dream of a professional flight career until the age of 50.
So there are 100,000 people who fly for a living. There's 7% who are women. 2 to 3% are African American. That number has not changed in 20 years. Less than 1% are Black women.
Many of them her co-workers, General Stacey Harris, Teresa Claiborne, Claudia Zapata Cardone, and Andrea Weeks. But before them all, there was Bessie Coleman.
So she becomes the first American to go over to France to receive a civilian certificate. Yes, she's the first Black female. And yes, she earned her certificate almost 2 years ahead of Amelia Earhart.
Hopson's novel, A Pair of Wings, is based on Coleman's 34 years of life, mined from archives and Black newspapers of her day, showcasing the aspirations of this 20th century pioneer.
I began to think about what I would be able to do with all of this flight training when I got home. Would I truly be able to open a school and do for the Negro? Where in the world would I get the airplanes, even the students with money to pay for their own flight time?
For Hopson, looking back allowed a way forward.
So we got gear down.
To make Coleman's dreams a reality.
I was always reminded that where she walked, I had the option to take the train. Where she took the train, I had the option to fly. Where she took a ocean liner, my life was greatly improved because I stood on her shoulders.
What do you hope the book conveys to the audience, to the
Hope.
reader?
Hope. Hope. There is never a time when you don't have options. To dream big and to put dates on it. To not give up.
A mirror to those aiming high and yearning to take off.
Very proud of you. Thank you.
So cool to see that relationship. You know, it's been 100 years since Bessie Coleman earned her pilot's license, 100 years in June, and yet 1% of all the pilots and folks in the technology space of flight are African-American women.
I like that, finding diamonds and watching them shine.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it really
I
is.
love it.